ready.
They say they need to ban the podcast equipment and take y'all mics away. And oftentimes when I listen, shit, I agree.
For real talk.
Hey, man, just because we know people don't mean that they know things. A lot of us was in the same classes with some of these folks. That don't mean they were passing these classes.
All the time.
It ain't the world leaving you behind, man. It's your line of thinking. You think the science stopped evolving because you stopped learning, and it don't work that way. I couldn't imagine voting for somebody who thinks identifying with me is identifying with a felon. That's crazy as hell. I'm Mr. Spann, and I'm approving these messages. This is the Mr. Spann Official Podcast. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Spann Official Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann. This is episode number 75 of The Report, y'all. Yeah, I'm fucking up. Old habits die hard, man. This is not the Spann Report. This is the Mr. Spann Official Podcast. Old habits die hard, man. But yo, we here. We on the mic. We got some shit to talk about. And we gonna talk about that stuff, right? I haven't talked to you guys in about a week. You know, I know the holiday weekend was last weekend, and I was enjoying that time with my family and it's really getting some rest in, man. Real talk. So that's part of the reason why you guys didn't hear from me last week. But a lot of things have been going on in the world, man, and we're going to talk about them, and we're going to talk about them tonight. But, of course, before we do that, I got to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit up that hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages. Of course, those messages will get replied to here live on the show, and they'll get played here live on the show. And, yeah, man, that's one way for you to get your voice heard here on the show, man, real talk. Also, if you're watching us live here on Facebook and or YouTube, you can go ahead and call that hotline and chop it up with your man Spann live while we're doing the show. Again, that area code is 313-288-0485. All right. Also, hit your man Spann up on Threads. My name on there is Mr._Spann. It is also Mr._Spann on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram and if you're on Threads, follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. I'm also on Bluesky, MrSpann.bsky.social. So if you're on Bluesky, man, if that's your social media, place of choice, then yeah, you can chop it up with your man Spann over the course of the week via that platform as well, man. Real talk. Also, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Spotify. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get read here live on the show. We really do appreciate everybody who does that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety. But also, if you're watching us here on YouTube, man, if you're watching us on YouTube, like and subscribe to the videos on YouTube. Like the videos, but also subscribe to the channel on YouTube. That way you'll be alerted when we go live. And also when we do post new videos on YouTube, you'll get alerted to those as well. And also, man, that's free. Doesn't cost you nothing to do that. So, man, we really do appreciate everybody who does that, man. And also, when you leave those comments, some of those comments on the YouTube videos and on the, those we'll read those as part of the feedback portion of the show. So we really appreciate you guys who do that. But for those of you who really do want to put on for the show and you want to get something back in return, we got something for you too. We do have a store, man. So we have the store. The link will be in the show notes. You can go to our TeePublic store where we have hats and we got, athletic shirts. We're not going to call it wife beaters. Athletic shirts and t-shirts and hoodies and coffee mugs and mouse pads. We got a bunch of stuff over there for you. So if you really want to put down for the show and you want to let us know that you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety, that's one way to put down for the show in a very tangible way. You get something back and we get to continue to do what we do here for you, man. So we really do appreciate you guys who support us in that way, man. Real talk. But yeah, man, I guess it's I guess I gotta. Do I have some random thoughts? I think I got some random thoughts. Yeah. I do. I do have a random thought, man. So I got a couple, and they're kind of basketball related and shit. Shout out to the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers for making it to the NBA Finals. Yeah, man. I know there's a lot of people who are talking about whether or not these finals are going to be, ratings generators or not. They don't have, we don't have the typical big market teams in the NBA finals this year. And a lot of people are upset about that. But if you like good basketball, I think that these are some of the more, not only just young teams, but also exciting teams to watch. I'm not necessarily a fan of either. I'm a Bulls fan through and through, and my Bulls are in like basketball purgatory right now. But, if you're just into watching some of the youth, some of the new stars coming up, man. I think this would be a very good NBA series for people to kind of it'll give folks a chance to latch on to some new stars, man, because again, some of the guys, some of these younger kids have grown up on, like LeBron James, like Steph Curry, like Kevin Durant. Some of these guys are now, they're the elder statesmen in the league. I remember when all of these dudes we're, we're rookies, right? So you're getting old when you're like, nigga, I remember when that boy got drafted. Boy, I remember LeBron James' first game against Sacramento Kings at the Arco Arena, and he scored 21 points in that first game. That type of shit. I'm that age now. But no, it's good to see like these new stars coming up, like Tyrese Halliburton and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, being able to like kind of elevate their games and not only elevate their games but get their teams to the NBA Finals. Man, we're gonna see a new champion, and so that's always a good and exciting time. But yeah, you New York fans, fuck y'all. So I was on Threads a couple days ago, and somebody had posted this thing where how they'll have like they'll have a map of who all the states are rooting for and shit, and like the map had like the entire United States rooting for the New York Knicks, and only Indiana rooting for the Indiana Pacers. And we know that's some bullshit, man. Why on earth would anybody from Chicago be rooting for the New York Knicks? Nigga! Like, why would we be doing that? Why would anybody from Florida be rooting for the New York Knicks? Like, nigga! Like, New York fans are some of the most delusional fucking fans in the NBA, man. I swear to y'all. I mean, y'all haven't won a championship since before the fucking Carter administration. But y'all still act as though the world revolves around y'all, especially when it comes to basketball. Like, New York fans are some of the most insufferable fucking basketball fans the world has ever seen. And so, like I made the comment on Threads and said, well, the only people who are really rooting for New York fans, like New York, is like people from New York. And then I'll be damned if motherfuckers from New York was all up in my mentions. And I'm just like,
that'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
Thank you for proving my point, motherfuckers. Y'all, all of you motherfuckers are from New York. Nobody else outside of New York gives a fuck about the Knicks. Nobody gives a fuck about the Knicks. We just don't. We don't. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, that was something that I was thinking about, man. But the other thing that I was kind of thinking about, that was a little basketball related. As a matter of fact, I was kind of going to have a little back and forth with my man, Jeremy, about this. We were talking about this, but this is something that I like. This is like, I'm starting to feel like I'm really becoming an old head, man. I'm really becoming an old head because this isn't the first time that I've seen this sentiment being expressed, right? A couple weeks ago, I want to say it was Aaron Gordon was talking about how NBA players need a break for the playoffs and shit. And now here LeBron James is also talking about needing a break before the playoffs. So I'm gonna pull this up so you guys can watch, right along with me. Yeah, man, I'm gonna pull this up so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about, because I'm of the mindset that like, yo, Michael Jordan would have never said no shit like this. MJ wouldn't have said no shit like this. It just wasn't gonna be a thing that MJ said ever talking about needed a break before the playoffs, right? But LeBron James out here talking about needed a break for the playoffs. So I'm gonna pull this up, and boom. Let's see what LeBron James is talking about. Here we go.
You got to give us a little time to prepare for it.
So like post All-Star break, something like that.
I mean, post All-Star break is usually like 30 games left. So maybe maybe 12 to 15 games left in the regular season. Okay, a month. Yeah. Give us a month to prepare for it because it goes from 0 to 100. Mm-hmm. It goes from us to be able to body check. Mm-hmm. No body check, no hand checking. No pushing a guy off their spot.
Right.
No rerouting guys at all.
Right.
For 8-9 months, and then or for 6.5, 7 months, and then
have at it.
2 months straight, have at it.
Have at it.
Like straight up, just no holds barred. And you know, it's fun.
Yeah, I don't think either of us have a problem with
we
it.
don't have a problem with
It's
it.
a contrast.
It's just a contrast, you know, of not being able to get into that flow. So yeah, you got to give us a little time to prepare.
Yeah, so it sounds like they got a little problem with that though, right? And so shout out to my man Jeremy, because he was like, "Yo, man, LeBron James been playing for 20 plus years, man, at all NBA caliber level." You know what I'm saying? Like, he got room to talk about this shit. I'm thinking to myself, like, but out of those 20 years, how many of those 20 years did LeBron James in the regular season play at least 80 games in those seasons? I knew the answer already. But I was hoping my homie, I was hoping my boy would like be honest with himself and be like, yo, you know, I mean, yeah, you got a point. But he wouldn't say that. He like, well, including the playoffs, you know, he did it 14 times. Michael Jordan only did it 12. Only thing is, before the playoffs, Michael Jordan had played over 80 games in the regular season 12 times. LeBron James has only did that shit once his whole career. Nigga! Just one time. These niggas get all the breaks in the world. And so, like, as we listen to LeBron James somehow, yeah, man, we need at least a month, you know, for the playoffs, man, to get ready for these motherfuckers. And then you got Aaron Gordon talking about yeah, man, we need some time to prepare. It's like, nigga, you only played 51 games this season, and you talking about you need time, bro. Like, the greatest didn't talk like this. And I'm feeling like an old head nigga. I feel like, I hate that y'all are turning me into this. I hate this. Real talk. But no, like, as I said, man, LeBron James, second greatest player I ever seen play in my life, man. Like, he's number 2 behind Michael Jordan to me. Still a great player, all-time great. I just like this type of shit here, I'm not a fan of, man. I'm just like, come on, man. That sounds soft. To me, that sounds soft. But yeah, man, we got that going on, man. That was just something I was thinking about, man. It was some random shit that kind of came across the timeline. Feel like talking about it, man. But no, let's get into some of this show, man. Let's get into some of the stuff that's going on in the world of, you know, the world. In the world of the world. I don't know what the fuck that even means, but in the world of the world, all right? But yo, first story we got coming up. Travis Hunter, man. Travis Hunter got married, and sports bros all over the world are just, oh man, hey. Yeah, man, Travis Hunter got married. For those of you who are not familiar, Travis Hunter is a young man who was the number 2 overall pick of the NFL draft. He was a Heisman Trophy winner at the University of Colorado. He was also at Jackson State. He was following Deion Sanders throughout his college collegiate coaching career. He was a number 1 like prospect coming out of high school, so he was already destined to be great. And he played both offense and defense. He was the first Heisman Trophy winner to play both offense and defense since 1997 when Charles Woodson from the University of Michigan had done it. And so over the course of his time in college, a lot of his, he had a large presence on social media. And unfortunately, a lot of his presence on social media, you know, consisted of content that he and his girlfriend were producing, right? And a lot of people, a lot of dudes did not necessarily feel as though the girlfriend was a good look for him, right? A lot of them felt like, you know, hey, man, you about to come into a bag. You about to come into a whole lot of money. You don't want to tie yourself down with this one young lady. Some of them felt like this young lady didn't have his best interests at heart. Some of these people felt as though, like, you know, she just did not like him. The weirdest part about all of that is, like, these niggas don't know him or her, right? So there's a lot of parasocial ideation going on there where people are on the outside of a situation. They think that what is presented to them on social media from these celebrities is the entirety of their lives and not just like a piece of it, right? But when you put yourself out there, when you put your life out there in such a way, that also kind of gives people license to feel as though they can express what they want about your life. No, never mind the fact that these people don't know you. They don't know what's best for you. They just feel as though they do. They feel as though like, you should take heed to what they're saying, despite the fact that they are motherfucking strangers, right? So Travis Hunter has been taking flack for his relationship with this girl for a while. At least I talked about this earlier in the year, man. Like it was weird to me to watch so many content creators, especially in like Sports Bro YouTube and stuff like that. And I'm watching them talk about this young man's relationship, and all of them were speaking with such conviction on whether or not he should be with her or not, and what his relationship with her really means. And even Bow Wow stepped into it and acted like he was trying to get his young man some game, as if this young man wasn't being coached by fucking Deion Sanders. If anybody would have been able to get in his ear and talk to him about how he should move and how he should navigate that relationship, it would be Deion Sanders, not fucking Bow Wow. And if Bow Wow was really about trying to impart some wisdom on this young man, hey, maybe the way to go about it is not getting on a fucking Instagram live. But so many of y'all were clout chasing, and y'all felt like hey, I gotta talk to you, young bro. Like, okay, call this nigga in. Don't get on social media and try to put his shit on blast, right? But Travis Hunter, despite all of that, said, fuck that, I love this girl, and they got married. All right, so we get the story here. This comes out of theroot.com. It says that despite online criticism, Hunter and Leanna Lene shut down haters with their Memorial Day weekend wedding. Travis Hunter, the number 2 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, had an extra special Memorial Day weekend with his fiancee, Leanna Lene. But if you thought folks online were happy about it, if you thought the folks online were as happy about it as he was, think again. As we previously told you, Hunter and Lene have been engaged since February 2024. The announcement was later met with a flood of negative chatter online thanks to some controversial videos of her that went viral 10 months later. Fast forward to the 5th month of 2025, the couple decided to make things official by walking down the aisle on May 24th. Evidenced by photos and videos posted by the two, Hunter and Lene tied the knot at a luxury wedding venue in Tennessee. He also gifted her with a Mercedes-Benz AMG G63 Brabus 800 as a wedding gift. And while a wedding is usually cause for celebration, thanks to reports that the Jacksonville Jaguars player may not have signed a prenup and lingering ill feelings towards Lene, the news of their nuptials was met with mixed reactions on social media. While some fans were happy for the young couple, others felt like it would only be a matter of time before Hunter would come to regret his decision. The way Travis and his girlfriend ignored y'all, went about their life, married, and are expected is amazing, wrote one user on Twitter. The talk behind Travis Hunter is wild. Nigga is rich, successful, and happily married before 24, and there are 33-year-old broke, unaccomplished losers talking down on him. The internet is something, said another one. Another user called me crazy, but I think Travis Hunter is going to be happily married to that girl forever. However, on Instagram, people were less enthusiastic and supportive. You just feel bad for him, man. One user wrote in the comment section of the NFL's post about Hunter. Now, again, I say this like, how do you feel bad for a young man who's clearly in love with a young lady, is happy about this young lady being in his life? You don't know either of them, but you feel bad for him. Like, I really need people to take stock of the kind of shit that they're into. Like, kind of take stock of their own personal social media intake, where you have such a strong feeling about the interpersonal relationships of people you do not fucking know. You don't know these people. They are strangers, right? I had someone come up to me on Threads, and he was talking about how nobody gives a fuck about what I think about Travis Hunter and his relationship. And I was of the minds like, yo, again, I told him basically the same thing I'm telling y'all. Well, if nobody gives a fuck what I think about it, think about what they think about what you think about it. Follow your own fucking advice, bruh. Like, niggas are so not self-aware. So not self-aware that they have such strong feelings about this. And it was weird to me earlier this year. It's weird to me now that this young man he done graduated college. He done got drafted to the NFL. He done married the woman he's in love with. And motherfuckers have issues with all of it. Right? They have issues with him finding someone he wants to share his life with. And like, I don't know how much of that is just like the steady diet of some of the fucked up shit that people are being fed on social media, the fucked up information that we get about interpersonal relationships, how we get fucked up perspectives about romantic relationships. There's a battle of the sexes going on social media all the time. I think a lot of that has something to do with how people are receiving this information for this young man. But the fact that so many people felt as though, and like, it's not even just Travis Hunter. Like, there were people, say for instance, with what's that girl's name? Halle Bailey. In her situation with her child's dad, there were a lot of women. Same thing. Like these parasocial relationships where these women were like trying to like, hey girl, you don't want to deal with him, this, that, and the other. Understand, but they were talking about this stuff as if she's supposed to like take these strangers' advice like she know y'all, like y'all know him and y'all don't. Now, at a certain point, their relationship became kind of public fodder because of their separation and her, getting a separation, filing a restraining order against, what's that dude's name? DDG or whatever. And there was all these older people on social media. I told you, like, bitch, you don't know them. But they felt vindicated in a way. And I think it's a weird thing, man, as we watch the saturation of social media and how social media has given connection to celebrity, and where you feel as though you have a connection to these people. Meanwhile, there's a one-way transaction in this. They put out stuff, you react to the stuff that they put out. But there is no like give and take there. Like a lot of times they're not responding to the things that you guys are saying because they don't fucking know you. But like social media gives people this false sense of a personal relationship because you consume their content. You watch you watch their videos, you listen to their music, you watch them act in movies and things of that nature. And so people had this false sense of like familiarity with these people. But you don't know these niggas. And so when they don't heed your advice, part of the reason why they don't heed your advice is because you're a fucking stranger. Right? You are a fucking stranger. And I think when people kind of understand and get to a point of understanding, because like, I don't know when we're going to get to that point. I don't know when the tipping point is going to be, when people start understanding like, hey, we really don't know these niggas. Like we know what they put out. We know what they have curated for us to know, but we really don't know these people. Once people figure that shit out, I think maybe our social media shit will kind of like even out. If that ever happens, I don't know if it will. I'm hopeful that it will. Don't know if it will, but yeah, man, Travis Hunter got married, man. I'm happy for the young man. He's living his best life. I mean, shit, the young man is a millionaire at 22, 23 years old. He's married. He's got, he's about to like, embark upon the career of his dreams, man. Who could be mad at that other than some miserable motherfuckers who don't know these people, who think that they know them because of whatever the fuck they feel like they've seen on social media, man. So yeah, man, we have that going on. Damn, sorry I'm late. Nah, man, you good. Yeah, you good, man. Shout out to my man Games and Drinks. He's out here in the chat room, man. You ain't late. You are right on time. You are right where you're supposed to be, fam. And I appreciate you being here. Real talk, man. But let's see what else we got going on. Oh shit. Here's another one. This was kind of fun. So there was his brother, right? Well, I wouldn't necessarily say brother because all skin folk ain't kin folk. But there was this one black dude who went out of his way to talk down on black women. As a matter of fact, he said he would die before he would fuck with a black woman. And he was only, gonna deal with white women. Well, that white woman was the death of him because she killed his ass. Oh shit. Nigga! Yeah, man. We get this story. This also comes out of the root. It says a Georgia man who wrote that he'd rather sleep with a dog than a black woman is killed by his white girlfriend. And guess what, y'all? Not only did she kill his ass, she ain't going to jail behind the shit neither. God damn! Yeah, man. So let me this story. It says a Georgia grand jury declined to charge a white woman who fatally shot her black boyfriend. But black social media is not responding how one might expect it in this situation. Hannah Cobb was arrested in February and charged with involuntary manslaughter after an incident in which she shot her boyfriend, Telvin Osborne, in the chest. According to the police, the couple had allegedly been drinking when Cobb went into the master bedroom to check and clean her firearm and accidentally fired a fatal shot toward Osborne. Multiple reports later revealed the couple got into a heated argument after leaving the club, allegedly over Osborne's infidelity. The confrontation escalated, ultimately ending in the shooting of Osborne. Following the exoneration, the Byrd County Sheriff's Office made a post on Facebook stating that violent protests regarding the decision would not be tolerated. But though many in the black community were obviously saddened by the loss of one of his own, some social media users have expressed misreaction about Osborne apparently routinely scolded black women on his social media profile. Now, keep in mind, man, I remember some years ago, I'm forgetting this dude's name right now. He was shot and killed by the police. I believe he had an Asian significant other. I believe they had a child together. But he had also said some very questionable things about black women. And I remember it being a thing that, like, yo, you know, people was like, well, it was a lot of black women like, I'm not going out to march for this nigga, man. Like, he didn't have any love for me. What do I look like going out here and marching for him when he had such disparaging things to say about us as women? And people was trying to call the women out because they didn't feel enthusiastic about going out and protesting on his behalf, despite the fact that he had very disparaging things to say about them. And so, like, this reminds me of that case. Like, I'm forgetting what that dude's name is at the moment. I hope somebody in the chat could probably remind me of what that dude's name is. But I remember that, like, and I remember saying, like, yo, like, I get it, like, yo, this nigga wasn't about the people. So, like, what? Like, so why would the people be going out and putting their bodies and their voices on the line for him when he spoke so disparagingly about them? But also, like, the thing was, you know, there was this attitude about the Black Lives Matter movement at that time where there was even like pushback within the black community, mostly from dudes, about the fact that the Black Lives Matter movement was being led by black queer women. And it's like, yo, man, like, y'all want to be put at the forefront of this. Meanwhile, the very, like, people are making sure that brothers are being highlighted, that their deaths are being highlighted, that they're trying to have some consequences being meted out for those who have taken these brothers out. And the complaint from a lot of brothers was, but it's black queer girls, like these gay girls out here though. Like, yo, but they fight on your behalf. Like, nigga, make it make sense. It was weird. It was a weird time back in like in between 2015, 2020, very fucking weird time, right? So I remember that. But like now, like the fact that they're like black women who like, black people period, like, this nigga didn't really fuck with us. So why we gonna go out there, right? On top of everything else, especially with Trump's election and everything. It says multiple reports later revealed the couple. Oh, I read that part already. Following the said ex-user Black Detta highlighted past posts on Osborne's account in which he praised white women and denounced black women, including stating that he would rather sleep with a dog than a black woman. A TikToker, Controversial Shannon, also brought up some past controversial statements which made him question his feelings toward the matter. In my honest opinion, I don't care, because Mr. Telvin Osborne has said a whole bunch of disgusting things about black women. He also had tweets saying if it ain't snowing, he ain't going, blah, blah, blah. He even said that he would unalive his girlfriend, who was a white woman. He did indeed get unalived by his girlfriend, who is a white woman, and that's why I don't care. Other users, including Black Liberation 84, are using this entire case as a teaching moment for black men who hate black women, possibly due to lack of self-love or past trauma. So one of the things I've always said about the whole thing about interracial dating and stuff like that, right? Hey man, you find love where you find love. Whether that be, you be a black person with a white person, or an Asian person with a Hispanic person, you find love where you find love, man. I think most of the time, right? The vast majority of people do not give a fuck who you with. They don't. They don't care. The vast majority of people are, hey man, you love them? Cool. If you like it, I love it. Like straight up, black people see that shit all the time, right? You like it, I love it. Don't care. I think when people really care, though, excuse me, I think when people start talking about, the like, or having problems with those who are in interracial relationships, is when they start acting as though these interracial relationships are their whole personality. Or when you feel as though you have to put down your own group of folk in order to uplift the person that you're with. So if you're a black dude and you got to put down black women in order to uplift the fact that you with this white woman, and you got to make sure everybody know I'm with this white woman, I would never be with a black woman. Like, I think that's when sisters take offense. Like, nigga, you ain't got to put me in it at all. As a matter of fact, I didn't want your ass to begin with. So I hope that white woman loves you as much as you need to be loved, but just don't put me in it. And I think that is the thing that, like, just kind of, that's the thing that most people, I think most reasonable people take offense to. It's like, hey man, you can go be with them however you want to be. I don't care. Just don't put me down in order for you to be with them. Right. And unfortunately, too many times, man, people who engage in some of those interracial relationships, some people who engage in those interracial relationships, they feel as though they have to justify why they went with someone outside of the race, when really it's like, you don't have to justify that to nobody. Most of the people don't care. If you like them, if you love them, then fine. Just don't put down your own in order to justify why you're with them. That's it. It shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be hard. Unfortunately, man, it's hard for folk though. So, the weird thing is, like, he talked all this shit about, hey, I would be with a dog before I would be with a black woman, and it was a white woman who was the cause of this nigga checking out. So, yeah, I know a lot of sisters was just like, not never. Yeah, man. Meanwhile, his white girlfriend is out there like, I kill everybody up in this motherfucker. Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, we got that going on. Another story that we got going on, man. Oh, let's see. Oh, okay. So there was a Cuban rapper, man. There's a Cuban rapper, also a Trump supporter. His ass is getting motherfucking deported. God damn! And honestly, I kind of feel like I feel sorry for that bitch. I don't. So we gonna read the story here. Let me pull this story up. Where did I save this? Here we go. We get the story here. This comes out of Politico. It says the pro-Trump Cuban rapper about to be deported. The predicament of the rapper known as El Funky reveals the deeply conflicted anti-Castro and pro-Trump politics of South Florida. So it's been very interesting to watch. Some of the politics and how they've been playing out, especially in regards to the Hispanic community, especially the Hispanic communities in South Florida when it comes to the Venezuelans and the Cuban community, because they voted very conservative. They're a very conservative bunch, and they voted for Donald Trump in large numbers. The weird thing about it is that a lot of them voted thinking that when Trump was talking about people, that he wasn't talking about them. They didn't think that they were the them that he was talking about, right? So, let me read this story. It says, in 2021, like many Cubans and Cuban Americans that summer, Florida Senator Marco Rubio was jamming to Patria y Vida, the Grammy-winning protest anthem that became a rallying cry for dissidents in Cuba. The hip-hop song, whose title translates to Homeland and Life, directly rebuked Fidel Castro's revolutionary slogan, Patria o Muerte, Homeland or Death. That was a cause that resonated with Rubio, the son of Cuban exile, so much that in 2023, he introduced the Patria y Vida Act and protecting against tyrants and expanding internet service in Cuba. Now, one of the song's central voices, Cuban rapper Alexier Marquez Duani, known as El Funky, faces removal from the United States. Earlier this month, U.S. immigration authorities denied Marquez Duani's residency application under the 1966 Cuban Adjustment Act. He has less than 30 days to leave the U.S. or face deportation and likely imprisonment in Cuba, since his music helped fuel the largest anti-government protest in Cuba in decades. Despite Duani's troubles, Rubio, now the Secretary of State, has remained silent because, of course, he's a goddamn nigga. He's a fucking coward, bro. He's a fucking coward. A lot of these people, man, are fucking cowards. So have other influential Cuban American figures and politicians who had embraced the Cuba Libre cause, such as Florida Representatives Carlos Gimenez and Mario Diaz-Balart, and celebrated Marquez Duani and submitted the lyrics into the congressional record. If there is a widespread awareness about Marquez Duani's case, it wasn't yet manifested in action. His plea for help has circulated on social media, but protests, petitions, or high-profile intervention has yet to materialize. Even as Patria y Vida collaborators have stayed largely quiet because they ain't trying to get their asses sent off either, right? The only elected official to offer help so far is Representative Maria Elvira Salazar. El Funky is a political refugee who deserves the full protection of the U.S. immigration law, she said in a statement after calls from Politico magazine. The first time she's spoken publicly about the situation. We're working with U.S. CIS, Citizenship and Immigration Services, to ensure that they understand the serious risk of torture and political persecution he faces if he's returned to Cuba. On Thursday, Salazar's office said they were making headway with the rapper's case. Duane's plight is striking on several fronts. First, it's an illustration of how much Rubio has changed while serving under the Trump administration. Had the Cuban rapper received such notice even a year ago, it's hard to imagine Rubio not speaking up. Second, the rapper's pending deportation is an example of how quickly Trump has shifted U.S.-Cuban immigration policy. For decades, the U.S. rolled out the red carpet for Cubans, which is part of the reason why a lot of them felt differently about illegal immigration, right? I feel like, there was this thing where a lot of Cubans felt like they were a protected class. They were a protected immigrant class, so to speak. And so they had the luxury of looking down on Venezuelans and on Haitians and on Mexicans and on El Salvadorians and a lot of folks from from South and Central America. They had the ability to kind of look down on them because Cubans have been kind of given a favored status here in America and in Americans' immigration policy. But now with Trump, they felt like, okay, so Trump is talking about getting arrested. He's talking about getting rid of the gangs and stuff. He's talking about getting rid of all these illegal immigrants who coming over here. They got to come over here the right way because they came over here the right way. Many of them came over here in dire straits in much the same way some of these other folks have come here. But they tended to forget that, right? They tended to forget that. And so they voted for Trump, and now the Venezuelans are feeling betrayed. The Cubans are feeling betrayed. And now all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, well, you were supposed to be getting rid of them. Like, yeah, y'all thought y'all were not part of the them, right? It's like that whole thing, man. Like, so Donald Trump has been eerily enough, as much as Donald Trump lies, because Donald Trump lies constantly. This was something that he was telling motherfuckers for years. For years. They just didn't believe he was talking about them. Right? Many of the people who voted for the policies that Donald Trump was espousing just didn't think that those policies would have them in mind. And so for those of us who did not vote for this shit show, we could be like, yeah, we tried to tell you motherfuckers. Y'all didn't want to listen. And even now, like, some of the people who voted, like they people don't want to admit to being wrong about anything. And that's one of the things about Trump and the Trump coalition. A lot of Republicans now, they do not want to admit to having been wrong about anything. People think about admitting wrong is a weakness, right? When not being able to admit that you were wrong about something is the weakness. But for them, it's as though if I admit that I fucked up, somehow that makes me bad. No, that just makes you human, right? But far too often, the people who empowered these dudes, who empowered these folks, they will never admit, even in the face of policies that are at their own detriment, they will never admit that they fucked up, including someone like a Marco Rubio, who is pretty much cut his nuts off and become a cuck to Donald Trump. For decades, the U.S. rolled out the red carpet for Cubans arriving in the United States, thanks to the legacy of Cold War policies that positioned the U.S. as a haven for those fleeing Castro's communist regime. Third, and perhaps most strikingly, is Marquez Duani's attitude toward the president, whose policies pose a direct threat to his safety. Like the vast majority of Cubans living in the U.S., he fully supports Trump. So even with this motherfucker being sent away, because of Trump's policies, he won't admit that he might have fucked up. It just is what it is. So yeah, man, he getting sent back. And do I feel sorry for him?
Supposed to feel sorry for that bitch. I don't.
I do not. So we got that going on. Let's see what else we got going on. Oh yeah. So we got this going on here too. So while we're talking about Trump supporters and them not being able to admit when they are wrong, Joni Ernst, she's a Republican out of, I want to say, Iowa. She was having a town hall recently in her state. And, you know, the Republicans, at least the Republican House of Representatives, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, they just passed what they call the Big Beautiful Bill. They were cutting Medicare, right? So a lot of people who can't afford medical coverage, they get Medicare to help them go to doctors, who help them get, you know, some sort of medical coverage. The Big Beautiful Bill cuts, funding to Medicare, I believe, they cut it up to $800 billion fucking dollars.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. No wonder you get D's and everything.
So they cut it over $800 billion in the Republican in the House of Representatives portion of that bill is going to the Senate, and the Senate, they can like make some changes to it before they decide if they really want to like pass it or not, and push it through to Donald Trump and get him to sign it and make it become law. Right. I'm old enough to remember when Republicans, let's go back to 2008, 2009, when Barack Obama was trying to pass Obamacare, right? When they were trying to get, some level of national health care for the American people. And I remember this was the rise of the Tea Party, when you had a bunch of, right-wing leaning folk who were talking about how how Obamacare was going to empower death panels, and the death panels were going to decide whether or not grandma lives or dies. They're going to just decide you get the insurance and you don't get the insurance, and the government's going to control who lives or dies, right? Fast forward about 15 years. And now the Republicans are, in fact, taking away health care that will, in fact, result in people dying because they couldn't get the health care that they required and needed, right? Joni Ernst, while talking to her constituents, as her constituents were telling her that as a result of these cuts, some of them would die, this motherfucker told them, well, shit, we all gotta die. Everybody gonna die.
That's the same attitude that got your ass fired in the first place.
Yeah, man. So, I'm gonna just pull this up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Let me see if I can. Let's do this here. Let's pull up Joni Ernst and she's talking this madness. Let's see what she got to say. Let's do this. Boom.
From the back corner of the auditorium, people are going to die. And I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well. But for those that would like to see eternal and everlasting life, I encourage you to embrace my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
So people are not, well, we all are going to die. So for heaven's sakes.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So the weird thing about this is that, she gets on social media after having that town hall, and she's being sarcastic in this apology that she's given. And this goes back to what I was talking about earlier with people just afraid to, or just refusing to admit that they fucked up, that they were wrong about something. And I think a lot of this is about especially when it comes to Republicans, a lot of them have adopted the Trump sort of methodology of never admitting wrong, never apologizing for anything, and feeling as though they can just run roughshod over everybody, right? The thing about that is that works for Trump. I don't know if that necessarily works for everybody else in the Republican Party, right? Donald Trump, as much as the Republicans feel empowered, because I mean, and they do have a right to feel empowered. They do control the House, they do control the Senate, they do control the Supreme Court and the White House. They got control of the whole shit, right? So they do have a right to feel empowered. Excuse me. However, their margins of majority are very slim. And so it can very easily change if people stay politically engaged and also hold these motherfuckers to account for the things that they are doing and the things that they are saying to their constituency. So Joni Ernst could very well find herself on the outs if her constituents are like, wait, this, like, is she really thinking because she's acting like Trump that we gonna treat her like Trump? Because she ain't Trump. And before Donald Trump won his second presidency, Republicans were on a very big losing streak. They were losing special elections. They were losing state legislations. They were losing governorships. Like Republicans were on a losing streak. It wasn't until the 2024 election where Donald Trump, he got his narrow win, but then they tried to frame it as though he had a mandate. He does not have a mandate. He has a very slim majority in both the House and Senate, right? But unless people are politically engaged, they would not know this. I know it feels as though like Republicans are like they got everything, and they do. They have control of a lot of shit, but they still need Democratic votes on certain things, right? And so it's important, and it's incumbent upon us as constituents of all of this shit to not only stay politically engaged, but also to engage our representative, our elected officials, to let them know how we feeling about the shit that they're doing. To let them know that there are consequences that will be meted out if you don't operate in the way that I see, that I feel appropriate for someone representing me, right? Far too often we go to the voting booth and we wash our hands after that. Far too often, not enough of us go to the voting booth at all, especially in the midterms when it counts the most. So as much as people talk shit about Democrats not getting shit done, we didn't give them the numbers to get shit done, right? I think back to 2010 when Barack Obama, after having spent a lot of his political capital getting Obamacare pushed through, the Tea Party ran roughshod and took a control of the House. And, so a lot of the Obama agenda was never able to come to fruition because he was facing staunch opposition in the legislature. We need to have that same level of pushback against some of the shit that Donald Trump is doing, but they can't do that if they don't have the fucking numbers. We need to stay politically engaged, right? So for someone like a Joni Ernst to get on social media and double down on the bullshit that she just said, just goes to show you that they don't give a fuck about the people who they represent. They don't. They look to people who have voted them in as mere pawns in the game. That's it. Republicans do not give a fuck about the working class people. They don't. Unfortunately, so many people, most of them white, unfortunately, but too many of them, especially the working class whites, feel as though Republicans are for working class whites when really they don't give a fuck about you either. They will sell your ass. They will sell your ass and throw you up under the bus quickly in order to get more money for themselves. They do not give a fuck about the working class. It's unfortunate that too many white people, too many white working class folk, because they get so worked up into some of the cultural war stuff, they've been able to distract a lot of these white folks against, policies that will benefit them, because some of these white folks are thinking, well, these black folks and these brown folks are going to get some of these benefits too, right? So they vote against their own interests. But yeah, man, they taking y'all health care away from you, and then they mocking you on social media. It's fucking crazy, man. It's fucking crazy. We got another comment here in the chat room. It says that who is this? Hey, tell me how to pronounce this, man. Is it Dash? Is it Dash? Because you got the capitals and whatnot. Let me know if I'm pronouncing it right. But it said when folks told her they were going to die, Joni Ernst essentially said, and that's exactly what the fuck she said. That's exactly what the fuck she said to her constituents. So it's up to her constituents in Iowa to say, okay, bitch, and we gonna vote your punk ass out of office. That's what the fuck we gonna do. Will they though? I don't know. Cause
Not never.
We gonna see. We gonna see. But we got that going on, man. Real talk. Let's see. We got another story here. Let me take that down. Oh, yeah. I want to talk about this here too. So, they want to make changes at the Consumer Protection Bureau, right? And they want to put medical debt back on y'all's credit report so that it can negatively affect y'all credit when you owe for, medical care. Yeah, man. So let me pull this story up. Let's see. We get this here from NPR, and it says the CFPB wanted medical debt to be left off of credit reports. That's changed under Trump. Now, I wonder why. All right, so it says David Deeds is in financial trouble, and he's hoping a federal court in Texas can help him out of it. Deeds, who is 62 and owes tens of thousands of dollars in medical debt from cancer treatment, is involved in a complicated lawsuit filed by credit industry groups over the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's medical debt rule. The rule, finalized in January, just weeks before the end of Biden's administration, would have banned the reporting of medical debt from credit reports. At the time, the agency reported 15 million Americans would benefit from the change, removing $49 billion in medical debt from records. It was set to go into effect in March. But new leadership appointed by Donald Trump, who now runs the CFPB, and the agency has just reversed its position on the consumer protection rule. Last month, it joined forces with the plaintiffs who filed the suit, trying to block it. The agency has not returned a request for comment from NPR. Over the last few months, Judge Sean Jordan from Texas's Eastern District has twice ordered a stay, delaying the rule's start date to July 28th. He is likely making a rule. I'm sorry, give me a second here. Eyelashes in my eyes and shit. It says he is likely to make a ruling on whether or not to vacate it or by mid-June. The outcome of the suit filed on the same day the rule was issued has important financial implications for Deeds, as well as millions more whose medical debt has negatively affected their credit scores. My credit was and is very important to me because it is necessary to secure housing, transportation, and employment, and make sure that I'm never homeless again. This man was homeless before. Deeds said in an affidavit filed on February 24th by a consumer advocacy group intervening in the lawsuit. In 2023, Deeds was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and found himself in a situation he had sworn to never be in again. A decade prior, at age 50, he had been homeless. He wrote in his affidavit, but in the years that followed, he turned things around. With a home and truck driving job, he built himself a safety net, and there was a tangible marker of that effort. His credit score has soared from abysmal to officially good, but his cancer put him out of work, and his health insurance was insufficient to cover the medical bills from several surgeries, he wrote. The money he saved over the years quickly dwindled, leaving several outstanding bills, one of which ended up on his credit report. His credit score dropped into the 500s. Once my financial trouble started, the situation just avalanched. The medical debt rule appeared like a lifeline, but it might be short-lived. In a motion filed at the end of April, CFPB, the defendant, joined the plaintiffs, the Consumer Data Industry Association, and the Cornerstone Credit Union League to request that the court enter a final judgment holding unlawful and vacating the medical debt rule because it exceeds the Bureau's statutory authority. We believe that Congress is the only one who can act on this and determine whether or not it can be on the credit report. Our intention here is to protect credit reporting system to ensure that it is as complete and accurate as possible. Now, interestingly enough, I just find it interesting that, Republicans were fighting against people having sufficient, health insurance, right? We talked about Tea Party and their fight against Obama and giving, some tangible health care insurance for the vast majority of Americans. And it was weird about it now is that a lot of people in a lot of red states, they have Obamacare. They have some level of health insurance because of Obamacare. They vote for Republicans who are trying to take their fucking health care away from them, but yet they still continue to vote for these same Republicans. And now, in the sense that, like, this person had health care, their health care was insufficient, their health insurance was insufficient, and the Democrats were trying to shield them from some of the medical debt that they could incur, because as much as all of us think we are okay, like, all it takes is for someone to have a really serious illness to put a damper on all of that. And so the Biden administration comes forth and they say, hey, we want to get rid of medical debt on your credit report, so that no longer shows up on your credit report. And here the Trump administration is on behalf of the people who gave you the debt. Like,
Not never.
that was the wrong one. I'm more so thinking about this. Yeah, but like, he's in favor of the people who are holding the debt. And so, as much as again, when we talk about how people vote against their own interest, like, think about how many people who can barely afford to go to the doctor to begin with, who go to the doctor, and because they go to the doctor, they get sent this bill. I never forget this, man. I will never forget this. I remember before I was working for the company that I work for now, I didn't have health insurance. All I know was, like, I needed to go to a doctor though, right? And I had I was losing hearing in one of my ears. Like, it was like, I'm like, man, I can barely hear out of this fucking ear. And I went to the emergency room because, again, I didn't have a primary care physician at the time. And turns out I had an ear infection, right? Had an ear infection. I wasn't even really seen by a doctor. I wasn't even really seen by a nurse. I was seen by a nursing assistant. And the nursing assistant was like, oh yeah, man, that's infected. Right? Yeah, that's infected. And they gave me some drops. They put some drops in my ear. And then they gave me a prescription for some drops to, slowly, like, clear up the ear infection that I had, right? And then I remember getting a bill in the mail about a week and a half later, and that bill for talking with the CNA in the emergency room, never seeing a doctor, never actually seeing a nurse. That bill for that person to tell me, to look at my ear and say, oh yeah, that was infected, and gave me these drops, that bill was for over $800. That's what it was. I never paid that fucking bill. There was no way in hell I was going to be able to pay that bill, especially at the time. I had no means to be able to pay $800 to go talk to a fucking CNA about whether or not I had an ear infection. But that's what they were charging. And so, I empathize and sympathize with people who are out here living, and like, the first thing that they have to do when it comes to seeing a doctor is going into an emergency room for a non-emergency event just to be able to see somebody for medical care, right? But then if you have to deal with, doctors and hospitals on some very serious shit like pancreatic cancer, I can only imagine what those type of bills look like without health, or better yet, you have health insurance and your health insurance is not enough, nigga. And so for the Trump administration to be out here like, yeah, we on the side of the doctors and the creditors and whatnot, you people who are dealing with these these bills or whatever, y'all gotta come up off this money, knowing that, first off, you don't want them to have the health insurance, but then also you also want to keep them in debt. And that's just,
oh yeah, there is powerful niggardry at work here.
So I need people. I know we talk about Trump a lot here, man. I try not to talk about this bitch as much, but it's because there's like this onslaught of all of these things that are happening to regular, everyday people. We need people to be informed of what this administration and how this administration is affecting them and why certain things are happening to them on a day-to-day basis. Now, understand that like your local government, you got your city, your county, state, that sort of shit, that affects you more immediately. But some of this federal shit trickles down to you too. And unfortunately, too many people just do not know the consequences of their vote or their non-vote and how that could affect them in a very serious and real way. And with Trump being in the office right now, we're seeing how this is affecting everyday people in a very real and tangible way. There's a lot of people, regular everyday folk, who were hurting in 2020 and 2024 when they were going to vote. And they blamed Joe Biden. They blamed Kamala Harris for their predicament, not necessarily taking the whole thing in holistically, not even being able to focus on the entire thing, right? Some of us, myself included, have been able to kind of look at the entire table and why things are the way that they are. But when you are dealing with the shit, sometimes you don't necessarily have the luxury of being able to look at the whole table. You're looking at your shit and what you're dealing with right here, right now. And whomever's in power at that time, you blaming them for your predicament. And I get that. I don't agree with it all the time. I understand it though, right? But it's important. It's important for those same people to understand how their inaction or their vote for this is also to their own detriment, right? So, yeah, man, we got that going on. Okay, Dash. Okay, so Dash is also in the chat room. He says, when you realize how many places ask for credit reports now, I'm not surprised. Renting an apartment, for example, their aim is to financially ruin folks and leave them in massive debt. It's control. Yeah, debt is actually absolutely control. Just bringing it back to some personal shit, right? I remember what really got me into really paying attention to my credit was me and my wife. We were seeking to move from our apartment at the time, and we were going to move into another apartment. And I had never really paid attention to my credit at all. I hadn't, and I was making really good money. And I didn't, I felt like, the fact that I was making really good money, was kind of supersede any of that. I didn't think I thought the fact that cash is king, as most people would tell you, like they'd be like, cash is king. And I made really good money. And so we went to an apartment and we put down a deposit and stuff like that. And then for whatever reason, we were denied the apartment. And I called them folks and I asked them, and they said, well, something came up on your credit report. You have to contact our the people whom we contract that out to. And so I contacted those folks, and they were talking about, there were a couple of evictions on your credit report. Now I'm thinking, like, evictions? Nigga, I ain't never been evicted from nowhere, right? Had never been evicted from nowhere. But what I found out was, and this was something that I was doing because, again, I wasn't paying attention to my credit, but also it was like I was playing a game too. I was at the time taking out hardship withdrawals out of my 401k, right? So I would just tell the people at the rental office, like, hey man, go ahead, put the eviction paperwork in, and then I can, contact my 401k people. They'll send me the money. I'll give y'all the money. I got some extra money that I can kind of float off of a little, to kind of, and I was doing that. What I did not realize was that, like, that was going to keep me from being able to actually get a new place years down the line. Right. And so, I never did that shit again though. I never did that shit again, but, it really made me pay attention to what my credit was. Right. And, not only that, it was like it eventually got to a point when I started figuring out, like, even when I was in the landlord that we had at the time, before we bought our house, he took a chance on us because he saw my credit score and stuff like that. He took a chance on us, but again, because I had made, a decent amount of money, he was like, all right, cool. And I never, we always paid on time. And in the event that I was going to be like a couple days late, I'd let him know, and he'd be like, all right, fine. And when I got when I told him we were about to buy a house, he was happy for us. He didn't even charge us the last month's rent. As a matter of fact, the motherfucker gave me my damn security deposit back. I had never seen no shit like that. I ain't never got that. Shout out to him, right? Because he was like, yo, man, I'm proud of you. He was proud of us, like, I got it together. You know what I'm saying? So, but all of that was, coming from not only just like, being disciplined about how we were spending money and paying bills back on time and things of that nature, but also having the ability to do so. That was the luxury that I had, having the ability to do so. Far too many people in this economy are not afforded the ability to do so. As much as they would like to, they don't have the ability to do so. And so oftentimes a lot of the people who are worthy of a better credit score just aren't in a financial position to put themselves where they can have a 700 credit score, because life gets in the way sometimes, because the job gets in the way sometimes, because the kids' school gets in the way sometimes. Like, there are sometimes obstacles are put in folks' way. Now, that's not to say that they can't come out of that. And it's not to say that some people are irresponsible, because some of us are. But that doesn't mean that well-meaning people aren't put in bad positions. And you being sick is you being put in a bad position. Nobody plans to be sick. Nobody plans to be terminally sick. Nobody plans to be sick to the point where they will owe a hospital tens of thousands of dollars. And the fact that the Trump administration and this government is trying to penalize people for that. Again, like I said, man, it's one of those things where you just kind of hope that people are paying attention to what this government is doing to them, and they're being openly antagonistic toward the working class. They're being openly antagonistic towards, like the people of what they would deem the lower class. They don't have any love for any of these folks. Unfortunately, so many of these folks, because they were tied into the culture wars, voted against their own fucking interests, man. And we got another comment here. Dash says, he says, the landlord gave you a security deposit back. I ain't never seen that either. Cue the Cat Williams drop.
Not never.
Yeah, man. He gave, as a matter of fact, he was such a good landlord, man. Anytime anybody I knew was looking for some place to stay, I would refer them to him. That's how good he was to us, man. He was a really good landlord. I only had one good landlord in my life. He was good, and he was the last landlord I had before I bought my house, man. Yeah, man, really good guy. And I might put his link in the show notes and shit, like get him some business, right? Because he was good to us, man. He took a chance on us. And when I told him I was getting ready to buy a house. He like, man, don't even worry about that last month's rent. Go ahead, man. And he gave me that security deposit back, nigga. It was Christmas in motherfucking December 2020, man. Real talk. And it really was Christmas in December 2020, because like Christmas and shit. But you know what I mean. And my man GS, he's like, yo, man. He said, I almost got one back. Once. That's crazy though, right? That's crazy how many of us, like we go and we rent these places out and you put these security deposits up. Like every time I put a security deposit up, I never thought I was ever going to get that money back. I just never, like, no matter what it was, like, I felt like once we moved out, I just felt like they were always going to figure out a way to keep that fucking money. Like, whether it was like a stain on the carpet and shit, or like, nigga, you knew we had a dog, or whether they was like, if I, like, maybe we didn't use command strips and we used the nail to hang a picture up or some shit, like, oh, nigga, it's a hole in my wall, so that's going to cost me $300 to patch up. Like, all right, nigga, whatever. Like, it's weird how landlords move in that way, man. But yeah, man, I need people to be aware. We need people to be aware of how the Trump administration is moving in against them in that way, man. Real talk. Let's see. Oh shit, yeah. I almost missed this. Trump done he didn't commute the sentences for Larry fucking Hoover, bruh. Nigga! He didn't let the GDs in the White House. This nigga done let the GDs in the White House. Let's see, man. Let me pull this. Excuse me. Let me pull this up. But yeah, man, he done commuted Larry Hoover's sentence. So we get this out of ABC News. As a matter of fact, I think there's video attached to this. Let me go ahead and pull this video up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Hold on a second. Let's see. Is this one of those videos where they don't actually say anything? Let's see. Okay, yeah, they saying something. So I'm gonna go ahead and rewind this and then
Hunter Biden received a pardon from President Joe Biden. So I think legally there's no problem with a Hunter Biden pardon. I think morally that's a different question. There's a question here of
why the fuck are we talking about
just because you can do something doesn't mean you.
Wait a fucking minute. Let me stop sharing this right now. Why the fuck are we talking about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden? And this is a story about Larry Hoover. Make that make sense. All right, I'm gonna just read the story. It says that President Donald Trump has commuted the federal life sentence to Larry Hoover, one of Chicago's most notorious gang leaders, according to his attorneys. Hoover, 74, the founder of the Gangster Disciples, has spent nearly 3 decades in solitary confinement at ADX Florence in Colorado, widely considered one of the most secure prisons in the world. Larry Hoover's federal life sentences have been commuted by President Donald Trump, Beijing Law Group said in a statement to ABC News. Mr. Hoover, who is now 75 years old, spent nearly 30 years in solitary confinement, the most restrictive, draconian supermax prison in the United States. Despite the commutation of his federal sentence, Hoover still faces a 200-year state sentence for the 1973 murder of William Pookie Young, a 19-year-old neighborhood drug dealer in Chicago. The federal charges, which resulted in 6 life terms in 1997, came decades after his state conviction. The courts have demonstrated a complete unwillingness to consider Mr. Hoover's considerable growth and complete rehabilitation, Beijing Law Group stated. Despite the court's unwillingness to do the right thing, Mr. Hoover has been able to keep his voice alive through the incredible work of many advocates and supporters. Hoover's case has drawn significant attention from high-profile figures in the entertainment industry. In 2021, rappers Kanye West and Drake set aside their differences to perform at an Amazon-sponsored concert advocating for Hoover's release. The event, organized by Jay Prince, took place at the LA Memorial Coliseum. The case has remained controversial, as some claim he continues to control the gang from prison through intermediaries, while others argue he is unfairly targeted by law enforcement and that his rights are violated. In the community, some view him as a Robin Hood figure who helped his neighborhood. His influence extends to pop culture, with references in popular music, including rapper Rick Ross' hit song BMF, where he draws parallels between himself and Hoover. Hoover is expected to be transferred from the notorious Supermax prison in Colorado to a prison in Illinois at some point. Thankfully, Mr. Hoover's pleas were heard by Mr. Trump, who took action to deliver justice for Mr. Hoover. We are thrilled to see that Mr. Hoover will be released from federal custody. Now, the thing about Larry Hoover having his sentence commuted is that, like, one has to wonder what that actually means for anybody, what that means for him, what that means for Donald Trump, and why Donald Trump decided that this was something that he felt he needed to do. Especially considering the fact that Larry Hoover ain't getting out of jail no time soon. Like, if Larry Hoover gets out,
be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
And if he walks out of anybody's jail, that's how I'm gonna be. Because he owes the state of Illinois 200 years, man. So even though the feds then gave him up, he still owes the state 200 years. It's much the same way that just like I said a couple episodes ago when I was talking about Kwame Kilpatrick. Kwame Kilpatrick was just out here begging a state legislature to lobby Donald Trump to give him a full pardon because he owed the city of Detroit over $800,000 in restitution, and he felt like if he got the pardon from Trump, that he could basically get around paying the city of Detroit the $800,000 that he owes the city, right? And so it's the same thing here with Larry Hoover, in the sense that Larry Hoover owes the state of Illinois 200 years, and now Illinois is going to give him the 200 years. So one of the things that people have been talking about is like whether or not this puts pressure on the Illinois governor, J.B. Pritzker, and whether or not J.B. Pritzker will like kind of pardon him and get him out of state custody or whatnot. Whether or not this is a play for black men to, further entrench themselves in voting for Donald Trump. We do know that I forget exactly it was like 20% of black men voted for Donald Trump this last presidential election. And we know that Donald Trump can't run again, but that doesn't mean that he can't be, laying this, trying to lay the foundation for another Republican to run on whatever the fuck it is that he's been doing. And not only that, we do know that the midterms are coming up, and if you can get just enough niggas to say, you know what, I might not fuck with these Republicans, but at least they got Larry Hoover out, that might peel a few motherfuckers who might go and vote for a Democrat and give them pause, right? So, there may be the political calculus there in order for them to operate in that way. But ultimately, what does this mean for anybody? Larry Hoover ain't getting out. So why would Trump do this, right? That was the question that I have. That's still the question that I have. And it wasn't just Larry Hoover. He let out he pardoned NBA young boy from robbing fucking pharmacies and shit. That Chrisley knows best dude, the little dude, I don't know if he's country or what. Like, I don't even know what the fuck he does, but he had like a little reality TV show and shit with his family or whatnot. And him and his wife were convicted of like tax evasion or fraud or something like that. He pardoned the both of them, got their asses up out of jail, that sort of shit. Like, understand, like, all of these things while he's doing this shit right now. I think that, like, on the political front, he's signaling something. Now, what he's signaling with Larry Hoover, one has to wonder what that is. I still don't know what that is. I just wonder whether or not, and this is just me being a cynic that I am, I wonder whether or not this is a play to continue to, try to endear himself to black men in the inner city. It's, especially in Illinois where, not even just Illinois, but people who respect Larry Hoover, because again, the GDs ain't just in Chicago no more. Shit, it's GDs and fucking, you niggas, y'all saw banging in Little Rock. You know what I'm saying? It's GDs all over. I remember the first time I saw a GD outside of Chicago, like, nigga, what are you doing? You don't even know why you banging. Same thing with Crips that are outside of LA. Same thing with Bloods that are outside. Nigga, what are you doing? Y'all don't even know what y'all banging for, right? But again, these gangs have migrated across the country. Larry Hoover's influence is across the country. I remember listening to the Ghetto Boys album back in 1995. I want to say it was the Resurrection album. Larry Hoover was all over that album. He did the intro and the outro with Jay Prince. I remember that shit. And I was a teenager then. Right now, I think he had some shit called 21st Century Vote or something that he was trying to do. And then, they cracked down on him, saying that there was another play for him to be able to control the game. Now, I don't know how much control of the GDs that Larry Hoover has now, especially considering, how these gangs in Chicago are moving now. They don't have the same structure that they used to have back in the day. It's mostly like little neighborhood cliques, and y'all could be GDs on this side and GDs on another side. You could be BDs on this side and BDs on another side, and they still in conflict with one another. It's about the neighborhoods now in Chicago, right? And I mean, there's some gang ties that, like, that are still holding, like, with the Mickey Cobras and, Folk Hunter Hustlers and, the Vice Lords and, the Latin King and all that shit. Like, it's so many different cliques and sets in Chicago that, like, you just kind of, especially if you're a civilian, you better move like a civilian, right? And when I go home to Chicago, I move like a civilian because, damn it, that's what the fuck I am, right? Keep your hat straight. Keep your hat straight at home, right? But no, man, I like, ultimately when word came down that this was something that Trump was doing, my thing was, all right, what's the play? What's the play? Because this ain't for nothing. He's doing this for a particular fucking reason. We just got to figure out what that reason is. And so one of the things I was thinking about was, like, was this the play to take attention off of this shit here, because Trump just got rid of Job Corps across the country. So we get this story here. This is actually out of our Fox affiliate here in Detroit. But this is when I noticed, like, this was happening across the country. So I was starting to see links from Chicago and Arizona and stuff like that. Job Corps has been cut across the country. And so I'm going to pull this video up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Hold on, I don't want to do that. I want to add the video. I want to share a screen. I don't want to add no camera. All right. So, yeah, let's see what they're talking about here. Check this out, y'all.
Also tonight, a sad scene outside the Detroit Job Corps Center after it was unexpectedly shut down.
This program trains young people for their future, and now many of them who lived on the campus have nowhere to go. Where are you going to go?
I don't know. I tried making a few calls, you know, trying to figure out something, but as of so far, there's nothing that's solid ground.
18-year-old Cameron is dazed. His sudden reality, he has no place to live.
Where are your parents?
One is in jail, the other is dead.
He lived at Detroit Job Corps on Detroit's west side, a career training facility for young people. A sad scene. Friday afternoon, dozens lugged garbage bags full of their belongings, some into their parents' trunks, and others, well, they didn't have anywhere to go.
They got garbage bags, y'all. They don't have luggage. They don't have duffel bags. They got garbage bags. These kids didn't have anything. They didn't have anywhere. Nothing. This was a lot of them, like for a lot of these kids, like a lot, not these kids, like these young people, this was their chance and their opportunity to try to do something. They try to do something with their lives, try to figure out a trade, try to figure out their life, and to be like tossed away at a moment's notice. At a moment's notice, just tossed aside like nothing, like trash. This is what people voted for. This is what people put in power.
The staff, they had us go to the rec at about 1:30, and they broke the news to us, and they had us go to the dorms, pack our stuff.
The staff on site would not say a word to us, but sources tell us it was shut down after recent cuts at the Department of Labor, which oversees the program.
I didn't want him to be a statistic, so I wanted him to be focused and get his education.
16-year-old Carlton Davis lived here, and his mom recently lost their house, and there's more.
I have breast cancer surgery next week, so now I'm debating having my surgery canceled so I can make sure my son is okay.
I'm livid. I am livid. I cannot believe this.
Community activist Pastor Mo trying to help out here after getting calls from frantic mothers. He's worried about the short and long-term solutions for these kids.
The ones who are trying to get it right. That's why I'm so pissed off. These are not kids are in a youth home who got caught in a crime. These are kids who are trying to avoid getting caught in a crime.
So I put this on social media a couple of hours ago, got some messages from employees now and former employees. They say they're not surprised by this, and they're questioning how this was run financially. So while the Department of Labor has not responded, maybe that sheds some light on why they were targeted in these recent cuts.
But still, in the meantime, you heard from that mother with
Sure.
the breast cancer surgery coming up. What are these people going to do? Hopefully some foundations or organizations can come to the rescue, because our hearts go out to them for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to stay on top of it, so stay tuned next week. I'll look into it some more.
Good. Okay, thanks.
Again, this is happening all across the country. This isn't just a Detroit thing. This is happening in Chicago. This is happening in Boston. This is happening in Phoenix. This is happening in LA. This is happening in Memphis. This is happening in Orlando. They have cut funding for Job Corps across the country. Young people who were seeking some level of job training, something like trying to get their lives in some sort of order, like the kids who are trying, they've cut that funding. So again, I need people to understand what the fuck you voted for, or what you allowed to come into power because you abstained from voting this last election. Like, yeah, man, this shit's terrible. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck him as a record label, a crew, the whole fucking nine, bruh. Fuck this orange piece of shit. And anybody who voted for this shit, fuck you too. Dead ass, man. Dead ass. Cause like, dead ass, man. We got that going on. Let's see. We got one more thing here. Oh, yeah. So, Haribo. We're going to get out on a funny note, man. We're going to get out of here on a funny note. We don't want to be pissed off. As I think the last time I was on here, I was so pissed off. Shit sounded so dire. But we're gonna get out of here on a good note, man. So Haribo Gummy Company is recalling gummies because apparently they got weed in the goddamn gummies, y'all. Yeah, man, they got weed in the gummies. So let me see. Is there video attached to this? Please tell me there's video attached to this. Nope, no video. I'm gonna read the article though, because this is funny. But says a popular confectionery company has pulled bags of gummies due to a potential cannabis contamination.
What the fuck, y'all? God damn! God damn! God
Yeah, man. Haribo has pulled its Happy Cola Fizz gummies from the shelves after multiple members of a Dutch family reported a dizziness after consuming the soda bottle-shaped snacks. After learning that the gummies were potentially tainted with cannabis, Haribo issued a nationwide recall across the European countries. The publication reported. The Netherlands Food and Consumer Protection and Safety Authority told Dutch news outlet Hart van Nederland that the samples were taken and cannabis was found in them. Do not eat the sweets. Haribo confirmed that it is working alongside authorities to investigate the contamination, adding that it appears only a single batch in the Netherlands was tainted and none in any other country. Damn it! That's the shit to be mad about right there.
What the fuck, y'all? God damn! God damn! God damn!
What?
Fuck!
Yes, as a precaution, Haribo made the decision to pull bags with the best before date of January 2026 in the Netherlands. According to the publication, the company will also issue full refunds to all customers who purchase bags affected by the recall. The safety of our consumers is our highest priority, and Haribo takes this incident very seriously, which is why a recall has been issued in the Netherlands. Haribo said in a statement obtained by the Post. All I'm saying is, well played, Haribo. Well played. Because if that shit had been publicized in the United States, there was a cannabis contamination to the gummies and the Haribos here, nigga, them shits would have been off the shelf, nigga. It'd have been like this here. It'd been
White fever get in your blood, man, it'll make you crazy. And you know they got them short little skates nowadays and that, what they call them, the tongues? Thongs. Yeah, right. They got the thongs all up the booty crack, and they got that sweet white nectar. Oh, Lord, have mercy. And after that, it's over. You wake up and you don't even know what you done. Just a pool of sweat around your ankles and a deep sense of satisfaction.
Off of eating gummy bears. Real talk, man. But yo, man, I'm gonna get on up out of here. Hopefully, you know what? I plan on trying to do something more. Like an additional episode this week because there's some more stuff I want to talk about. But again, like these episodes are running a little long. Even now, I'm at like an hour and 25 minutes, and I got a late start tonight. But I do want to try to get back to you guys sometime later this week with some more stuff. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna try to get back to you guys again this week. But I gotta get out of here tonight. I gotta go to work tomorrow, man. I gotta go to work. So before we get on up out of here, I gotta remind you guys how to get in touch with the man Spann and let your voice be heard here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast. Go ahead and hit up the hotline, man. It's area code 313-288-0485. Area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages. Those messages will get played here on the show. They will be responded to here on the show. And if you're watching us live on YouTube or Facebook, you will get responded to here live on the show. So go ahead and call that hotline, man. Don't be scared, man. Don't be afraid. You know what I'm saying? Your man's Spann is friendly. I'm friendly, right? So, yeah, no, but for real talk, if you want to get your voice heard, man, hit up that hotline. Area code 313-288-0485. Also, follow your man Spann on Threads and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead, follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. I am also on Bluesky. My name on there is MrSpann.bsky.social. So go ahead and follow me there if that's, if Bluesky is where you really are on. Also, like and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, man. We really appreciate you guys for doing that. Like the videos on YouTube, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and then you could talk shit to us on YouTube too. There's a comment section on YouTube, so go ahead and leave those comments on YouTube too. And yeah, man, for those of you who watch the videos later, those comments will also be highlighted and responded to here live on the show. Also, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and on Spotify. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We really appreciate you guys for doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking out with us here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety. And also, go to our store. For those of you who want something tangible for your efforts and shit, right? You can spend some money with us, but you get some shit back when you go to the store, right? So you can get a hat, you know what I'm saying? You can get a t-shirt, You can get an athletic shirt. You know, they call them white people. We call them athletic shirts. You can get a mouse pad. You can get a coffee mug. We got some stuff in the store. We really do appreciate you guys for supporting us in that way. It continues, it really does help us continue to do what we do here and bring, the commentary that you enjoy and that you continue to come back for. So we really appreciate you guys for supporting us in that way, man. Real talk. But yeah, man, it is time for us to get on out of here. My man Reggie T says, all right, Spann. I will talk to you again, Reggie, and everybody in the chat room. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with your boy, and we will talk to you guys again soon. But until next time, fam, I'm gonna get on up out of here. And yeah, peace.